Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I am your host, Kimberly Cloud. Today, we have a reoccurring special guest for the show. Can you go ahead and announce to the world who you are and where you're from? And can you go ahead and say what we talked about when we were talking like almost 2 years ago? How does it feel to be back on my show, Joshua?
Well, first thing I want to say to you, Kimberly, is that I've been doing podcasts as a guest since 2018. I've done over 600 of them at this point, and there are so many hosts who do about 5 or 10 shows and then give up on podcasting because they learn just how hard it is. They learn how hard it is to market it, to continue to keep it fresh. It's one of the reasons I don't host my own podcast. It's too tough. I commend you so much for the amount of material you produce, for the amount you put yourself out there, and for the fact you're still doing this. So let me say that at first. I am a true professional podcast guest, and you are among the best out there still doing this. So congratulations. My name is Joshua Shea. I am known as that corn coach in social media and online. When I was here before, we talked about the fact that I was a pornography addict for 24 years. I was also an alcoholic for 22 years. I eventually got clean when I was 37 years old. I'm only a couple weeks right now away as we tape this from being 12 years sober. And for the last year, thank you. And for the last 8 years, I've been working in the realm of pornography and pornography addiction. What that has also caused me to do is to branch out, not just from being a pornography addiction coach, but to also become a betrayal trauma coach. That's helping the partner of the porn addict navigate that difficult time. And I have also become a disclosure specialist. And that's where you work with a partnership, married or not, that are having massive communication and truth-telling issues, and you get them together and you work on that communication and truth. So hopefully they can mend the relationship and move forward with new tools to deal with issues that they haven't been able to successfully deal with in the past. I don't remember how many books I had written when I was talking to you last time, but my fifth one, pornography, for a pornography book for parents who are trying to figure out how to navigate this new digital world of pornography that is constantly changing. I'm working on that book right now, and it should be available in late 2026.
Well said, and based on your analysis of pornography and being an ex-addict, do you feel like pornography, if used the right way, could be a healthy tool to use, or do you feel
Um,
like it's bad?
the only thing I can think about pornography being, I don't want to say healthy, but being good, is that it can teach a lot about anatomy. You can learn about people's bodies by watching it in a way that they never taught you in school, in a way that you can't look up, or your parents or other people won't tell you about. So it does provide the information, the visual information about people's bodies that a lot of younger folks may wonder about. Aside from that, no, we know it's not healthy. The best that you can hope for, and 80% of people who watch porn do not become addicts, but it is not a healthy activity for them. The most they can hope for is that it is not unhealthy. It's a lot like, Kimberly, if you and I go to McDonald's, we're not doing a healthy thing. But if we only go there once a month, it's not really that unhealthy. It's when you begin to eat at McDonald's every day or twice a day. that it becomes unhealthy. And that's the same thing with pornography. People who use pornography, who masturbate, 1, 2, 3 times a month, it's a recreational thing. The pornography is usually used as a surrogate for actual real sexual interaction. People who are addicts, it has very little to do with sex. It has to do with the fact that pornography is the vehicle by which you stimulate the neurons in your head to create dopamine, oxytocin, norepinephrine, all those fun little chemicals up there that make you feel good. People who are addicted to porn are not addicted to boobs. They're not addicted to butts. People who are pornography addicts are addicted to the feeling that the pornography gives them. It's the same reason people are addicted to gambling or food or video games. It gives them a sense of control, a sense of power, and it's a way that they know to regulate their emotions. It's a coping tool. And for those 20%, it's very unhealthy. For the other 80, certainly not unhealthy, but it's not healthy either. It's kind of a neutral thing.
And then you got to ask yourself about the many drugs out there that, if taken too much, are unhealthy. So I think it's a catch-22, or not even a catch-22, because it's like, when you are addicted to porn, because for one, I don't want to include myself. I don't think I'm addicted. However, people tell me that that's what they do. And I'm like, okay, that's on you, and however, I feel like, porn is something that is just like a glass of water. You abuse it, even if it says non-addicting, you abuse it. You, it's going to be reckless to drink a whole bunch of water, because you're going to get water poisoning.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about what I just said?
Well, much like water poisoning, most people have never heard of water poisoning. Most people don't know you can get water poisoning. Most people look at water and think, it's water, you need it, it's good for you. But there's just not the education out there that says, hey, this can be bad for you. There are some people out there who actually die of water poisoning or water intoxication, and nobody knows about it. And that's really where we were when I got into this about 8 years ago, is that people just didn't have any idea about pornography or pornography addiction. Most of the grown-ups remember using Playboy magazine. They remember using VCRs to watch porn. They have no idea how it has evolved into where we are these days. And we need to educate, just like everybody should know. Water intoxication is a real thing. We all know smoking's bad for you. We all know running in traffic is bad for you. We should know too much water is bad for you. We should know that too much pornography or addicted pornography use is very bad for you. I think that the world's problems at their core are solved with education.
I agree. I definitely agree, because if we stigmatize healthy pornography, that's not going to be too good. People are not going to know how to protect themselves. There's people that have been in relationships their whole life, one partner, and they are curious,
Yep.
and that's good, but however, tell me about your experience with coaching people into communication with each other, the partners.
Absolutely. One of the things that people, that I think pornography, or where we are with pornography in as we head into the second quarter of this century, is that there is still so little understood about it. It's a taboo. People don't want to talk about it. People are afraid to talk about it. There's still so many people who believe if you look at porn, you're a pervert. There's something sexually deviant with you. And good people, Christian people, healthy people don't look at pornography when the reality is almost everybody does look at pornography. And it's not 3% of the population who are just sexual weirdos. It's when it comes to men, around 90% of men who have access to the internet look at porn at least once a month. Around 60% of women who have access to the internet look at pornography at least once a month. That doesn't mean they're addicted. What's more important when you're talking about a partnership is that you keep it honest. What is your partner going to think about you looking at pornography? And is that okay in their eyes? And are you going to go ahead and look at it anyway? Are you going to look at it if you know it hurts them? Are you going to look at it if they believe it's cheating? Because that doesn't necessarily make you a porn addict. It makes you a bad partner if you don't care what your partner thinks. It's like if your partner said to you, hey, I don't want you to eat Skittles anymore. Well, I don't know why the hell you don't want me to eat Skittles, but I love you very much. And if Skittles are the problem, okay, I won't eat Skittles. If you need to use porn behind your partner's back, if you need to lie about using pornography behind your partner's back, there's definitely something else going on. And in my disclosure sessions, the process is fairly simple. First, the person who was betrayed or hurt, I work with them to help them communicate that hurt. And then we talk about, why we don't like to talk about we're hurt, what we're afraid of when, walking up to you, Kimberly, and saying, hey, you hurt my feelings. Well, what are you going to think of me? Maybe I should just shut my mouth and not express my emotions or express my feelings. And that's what happens in a lot of close relationships, is that we become so scared of what the other person is going to think of us, what they're going to do, that we present a version of ourselves that we wish was the best version. And then we're somebody else, not entirely, but we're somebody just a little bit different than who that person really knows. And what I try to do is bring those people together in a truthful place, because nobody's perfect. Everybody has little issues, and it's time to openly discuss them and not fear what's going to happen when that occurs.
Well said. Instead of watching porn alone, let's say the partner, because I heard everything you said is watching it behind the other partner's back. What would you tell that partner? Would you say, well, how about y'all compromise? A therapist said that compromise, even sometimes you have to agree to, even when you're right, to be wrong, just to let it go.
Yep. If there is addiction as part of this, no. It's you can't let it go. It would be like, hey, Kimberly, I know you don't like the fact I use cocaine, but hey, let's use cocaine together and it'll all be great. If you're an addict, you can't. Let's go drinking. Well, I'm an alcoholic. We can't. If you are, and then it does come down to how do both parties feel about pornography. Some people are morally opposed. Some people do find it gross. Some people find it awkward. Myself, being an addict, my wife was very much not a prude. I remember very young in our relationship, and I'd already been a porn addict for a decade before I met her. I remember we went to a hotel at a casino, and she thought she would, do something kind of different, kind of wild. And this was back when hotels had 24-hour pay-per-view pornography. She bought one of those 24-hour packages for $20. And so porn was on TV for 24 hours. And that may sound great to the average person, But for me, who it was an addiction, for me, who preferred using alone, for me, who, yes, obviously getting off feels good, but I was usually watching it to deal with my anxiety, to deal with the negative things in the world. I
I
didn't need to watch porn if I wanted to have sex with my wife. I'd have sex with my wife. I used porn for a totally different reason. However, if you're both healthy, if you're both morally okay with it, if you both agree to do it, then go for it. Have fun.
I think that a man and a woman, when they have empty time or borrowed time, boring time, that's when what makes me feel good, even though certain things, you're like, it doesn't, it's in your unconscious mind. You're like, what can I do that is pleasurable? And so
Mhm.
you do it, and it's one thing to do it and it be healthy, you can't say that I'm you can never say that people are not gonna better not use pornography, because if you do, you're wrong. It's how you use it, is what's your agenda while you're using it, and it's what are you getting out of it?
Yeah.
Are you hurting someone? No. Are you hurting yourself? No. So
I
I
guess it
mean,
depends how vigorous you are with yourself.
so how do you feel about that statement?
Um, I think that people have to be honest with themselves about why they're using. When I sit down with a client and he or she tells me that they have to masturbate and look at porn every day, or they have to do it, twice a day, how many other things in your life do you have to do this with? What control does the porn actually have on you that you may not want to admit? Can you not use porn for 1 week? And during that week, do you cave? During that week, how many urges, how many triggers take place? During that week, how many times would you use if you weren't challenging yourself? That will give you a picture of just what kind of hold pornography or the chemicals involved in using pornography have a hold of you. Most people have these stereotypes of who a porn addict is. They have stereotypes of it can't be me. I don't do this. I don't act this way. I don't feel this way. I had a wife. I had 2 kids. I owned 2 companies. I was not the stereotypical porn addict that people think of. But I have to drive the fact home. Men, women, old, young, all over the world,
You're
every
reading
color,
my
every
mind.
religion, every political persuasion can
Yeah.
fall into this.
I've seen older women. I was like, wow. I was like, shouldn't you be at home baking cookies? And they got titles, and it's so weird, However, you know, it, we all do it, man. Like, however,
Statistics say that almost all of us do. Yes,
yeah,
I just got all of mine out of my system early on. I mean, I don't do it anymore, but I can't do it anymore. That's unfortunately, I have a wonderful, beautiful wife who I am able to get it on with when she says okay.
well said. Okay, and how do you feel about like the future of like your family? Because I want you to know what you just said. It may offended some, but it makes perfect sense with what you said. That's you you think like every other man that's laughing probably right now at what
Yeah.
you just said. However, um, how do you feel about the future with building with your family, your kids and everything else based on your old ways that you how do you grow? Like how do you literally with pornography, how do you shut that out of your life when someone tries to enter your life and try like a demonic type
you
thing.
you have to be honest with yourself. Here's the, Kimberly, I haven't masturbated or used pornography in 12 years.
Hmm.
But that doesn't mean I don't like naked women. I still like naked women. Boobs are fun. I like them. I think just about every straight guy does. And to pretend that, oh my God, I don't like that stuff. I never liked that stuff. That stuff was gross. No, I don't think that. I just know that
Right.
stuff I can't deal with. It's not healthy for me. I go to a different place, and or I did because of my trauma before I got it taken care of. When it comes to my children or really anybody's families, I think it's a matter of not being afraid to talk and recognizing that talking about pornography is not the birds and the bees speech at all. Talking about pornography is more like the here's why you don't do drugs when you're a kid speech. Here's why you don't drink. Here's why you don't smoke cigarettes. When you're a grown up, you can decide what you want to do. But when you're young in this family, we don't do this because we know just how bad it is on a level of forming the brain. We know how bad it is when it comes to forming your attitudes about sexuality when you're young, about forming your self image when you're young. If you're a 12, 13-year-old little boy or little girl and you start using pornography and you know that your parents would be against it, or you don't recognize all your friends are using it, so you feel like an outsider, that can do a lot to you emotionally.
But
And
let's just be honest, at 12 to 15, when the parent is at work, children are doing things that the parent would be definitely against, because I was one of them. I've seen the children in middle class do it, I've seen the children in upper class do it. So let's say
but
the
did
parents
you
need to
did
pay
you
more
did you
attention.
did yeah, and the thing is, and people who are like, well, kids are not going to listen. Most kids don't do hard drugs because they've been taught not to. Most kids don't drink bleach because they've been taught not to. Kids want to learn. Kids want to do the right thing, and kids need a safe place where they are not shamed if they stray. If a kid makes a mistake, if a kid does something wrong that you don't want them to do, you don't embarrass them, you don't shame them. You explain why the behavior needs to be different, and you let them know that you're always a safe place so they can come talk to you about this, because it would be much better if parents educate their children, keep that bond going, than some random fifth grader who they're only going to know for a few months, who you would not want teaching your kid anything. So you have to get to your kids first. You have to be able to, in an age appropriate way, as they grow, introduce the concepts that doesn't scare them about pornography, but lets them know what it is. I wouldn't want a kid walking through the beer aisle at the grocery store crying and scared to death because they've heard horror stories about alcohol. I don't want that to happen to any kid who, is using pornography either. I want them to feel like they have somebody that they can go talk to. And parents need to be willing to play that role, just like they would with cigarettes, just like they would with a 12-year-old who tried a beer. Come talk to me and we can deal with this. And that has to do with your overall parenting skills, not just your pornography skills.
Well said.
Thank
You
you.
know, like I feel like parents should talk to their children more too, like, and children, they their natural behavior, like you said, is to do the right things.
Yeah.
Their natural behavior. However, in this world, in the fourth grade, I knew about pornography, and this was 94, and I'm like,
You're
how
making
how
me
did
feel very old, Kimberly, because I graduated high school in 94.
okay, I mean, not that old, but I knew about it, and it was like now that I think about it, I was like, wow, like that's crazy. Why was I exposed to that? And I'm like, but I made a mistake. It wasn't me making a mistake, but the mistake was that it I was exposed to it. You know, I was it was a stigma,
Mhm.
and things happen as I got older and progressed. Like, how you got billionaires and millionaires that can attract money. As time
Mhm.
progressed, the attraction, the laws of attraction to whatever pulled me in,
Yeah.
um caused a vicious cycle, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes sense. That's what's happening to so many kids out there with so many different things.
Yeah. And that's why I I don't even I put this on the Bible and my veteran status. I love kids. One day I will be able to talk to kids in front of the parent. However, my mission is clear. Let the parent handle the child.
Yeah.
I have nothing to do with that. I don't want to get to know a child. I don't want to, unless they come in my realm. Does that make any sense? Do you see what I'm saying?
If you've
Because
ever been
it's
on a
like it
if
has
you've ever
nothing
been
to
on a
do.
plane with a kid, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Uh,
Yeah.
but absolutely, we need, and it's not a matter of we need better parenting. It's a matter of we need parenting. We are not, we know how to add fractions and divide fractions, and we know chemical combinations, and we know characters in Shakespeare stories, but we're not teaching kids to run a household budget, how to be a basic parent, how to fix the plumbing under their sink. There's a lot of basic skills, there's a lot of basic life that we need to talk about. What if we talked about in school when kids were in third or fourth grade, your grandparents or someone close may die if they haven't already died. Maybe taking a couple hours to talk about grief would help kids for the rest of their lives. I think that our education system, and I say this with my parents now in their 70s, having been elementary school teachers until they retired about 15 years ago, um, the system is messed up. It's completely messed. The public school system's messed up, and it's not dealing with what we need to deal with. And all you have to do is look around and recognize that's the case. And certainly not the teacher's fault. I think it's the administration and the fact that so many people in this world do not believe that education is ultimately our answer.
I feel like education is definitely the answer, like you said, Joshua. I educating the children. If they make a mistake, no one educated me. It's easy for you to say it, Joshua, than to do it, because
Yeah.
that is a hard statement to actually put into action.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I remember sitting down. My son is 23 now. I remember sitting down with him. I was still an addict at the time at 9 years old and saying, hey, you're probably going to start getting interested in naked girls if you're not already there. You're going to be able to look at naked girls on TV or on your phone or on your computer. And that's completely natural. That's okay. I don't want you to feel bad about doing that, but you can't
So
do it.
why is your parents, or why do parents, they get mad and then they attack your heart, and you feel what they're saying when they're yelling at you as you do a bad deed. However, like you said, they don't correct it and explain what they did wrong and how to fix it.
Because there's no class for parenting. And if your parents, and this is, I always tell my clients this, we're not here to blame your parents because that's a pointless exercise, but we're here to understand why you are the way you are. And the reality is, if your parents were not raised by people who were good parents, how can you expect them to be good parents? If your grandparents or your great grandparents were raised in a time where pornography was for twisted perverts, well, it's kind of tough to evolve that, especially it keeps getting handed down. Or, you keep being told this isn't good, this is bad. I don't get how anybody who's 21 years old these days can be racist or homophobic or against certain religions, because we should be above that at this time. If you spend time getting to know somebody, you will learn there are bad people of every color, there are bad people of every religion, there are bad people of every sexual persuasion, and there are good ones too. Judging them on that is not fair enough. But so many parents still raise their kids to see differences between people being inherently bad. When, like I said, if you just spend the time to get to know somebody, you'll probably have real reasons to dislike them that have nothing to do with just being skin deep. So, I will tell my kids, don't go down a dark alley at night in a major city. I don't care what color the people are at the end of that alley. I promise you there's nothing good that's going to happen. No matter what God they pray to, no matter who they voted for, no matter what color they are, you do not go down that damn alley, because it's only bad at the end of it. And that's kind of like the thing with pornography. You go too far down that aisle of pornography, it doesn't matter what you're looking at on the screen, really. It's just not a good place to be. And you have to, in the beginning of the second quarter of the 21st century, we have to teach our kids about pornography, just like cigarettes, just like drinking, just like anything else that can harm us. Again, it doesn't have a whole lot to do with sexuality. It's like trying to explain what happens to your lungs to a kid when they smoke. It's not good for you. Let's leave it at that. Trust me on that. And if you get to your kids young enough, they will trust you on it. And if they don't feel like they're being judged, if they feel like they are safe telling you anything, even if you're appalled, if you can treat them with respect and a feeling of safety, they will continue to come to you and communicate with you, because they know they are not going to be belittled. They are not going to be told that they're bad. They are not going to hear the things that maybe your parents told you, because your parents didn't know how to parent in this area either. And you have to remember that. I'm 50 years old right now. I was raised in the late 80s, and I'm old now. I hate it. The entire pornography world, the entire digital world did not exist when it was the late 80s. So whatever my parents did teach me about porn doesn't really apply right now anyway.
Don't they always say that the next parent generation always say, I'm not going to be like my parents because they annoy me, and they be like right there in the cycle. It'd be so
It's
hilarious.
when I talk about this, I say it, generations are all the same yet so different. Everybody thinks the generation before them out of touch, old fashioned. Everybody thinks the generation after them crazy. They're pushing things too far. They're insane. My generation is safe and where everything should be and the way the world should be. And it's no. You're not unique. I'm sorry. The bad stuff that's happening in the presidency, go read Alexander Hamilton's biography. It's always been happening. This world, we all like to feel like we're at some individual special part of time and history, and we are in some ways, but it's all cyclical. Everybody fears the world is going to come to an end under their watch. We've been here millions of years. The world's not coming to an end under our watch. I promise you.
I like that. Okay. Do you have the floor for a minute? I want you to explain to the people anything you would like to explain of importance for 1 minute, and then we're going to close with how to reach you.
Yeah. Well, like I made some allusions to either, the thing that I always want to underline, and it's for those people who may just be starting to wonder if they have an issue and they're trying to explain it away. Like I said before, pornography addiction, like drug addiction, like cigarette addiction, like alcohol addiction, it can affect anybody. Every year that I've been doing this, I see the number of women who I coach for pornography addiction double in size. Every year I'm doing this, I see more men on the betrayed side of things who have a wife or a girlfriend who went and looked at this stuff and hurt them in the process. I don't care who you vote for, Republican, Democrat, or,
Independent.
libertarian. That was the word I was looking for. I don't care if you pray to Jesus or Allah or Buddha or Harry Potter. I don't care, if you are white, black, yellow, or, some other color that you probably should go looked at that point. Everybody can be a porn addict. And that's what you need to realize. You cannot disqualify yourself from being a porn addict because of some demographic trait. It's not the way things are anymore.
One last thing. You know what I don't get? I don't get how people are thrown to the wolves to fend for themselves, and then they get a title on the TV that say from a facility, say, if you have a porn addiction, call this number, but they're, like you said, not being educated. They get these feelings and these urges, and they don't know what to do with them. That people shun themselves. They like, wow, do it in secret, or they'll shun other people for doing it. Like it's just, it's unhealthy.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I couldn't have said that better myself. And what we need to pull our Puritan pilgrim sticks out of our butts and realize that this is a legit problem. All of the math and statistics reveal it. All of the people, all of the new sex addict, porn addict professionals prove it. All of the 12-step groups that deal with this stuff that are seeing record populations join. You can see what's happening in this world. And if you decide, well, oh my God, it's naked people and it's touching yourself. Well, if you have that reaction, my guess is that you look at naked people and you touch yourself, and for some reason you can't admit it to yourself. And that's a problem, because the problem with this does start with you, whether you're a parent, whether you're a user, no matter who you are. You have to look at your behaviors. You have to be honest with yourself. Don't tell yourself stories you want to hear. Tell yourself the way it is. And if you don't like it, fix it.
That sounds like some military stuff. So how can people reach you? Well said, though, Joshua.
Thank you.
How can the people reach you, Joshua?
They can reach me. Best way is through my website, which is thatcorncoach.com. On that website, you can book with me. You can find my books that I've written. You can learn more information about pornography addiction, about betrayal trauma. It's got all of my socials there. It's everything you need to know about me is at thatcorncoach.com.
Okay. And stay on the line. Thank you guys so much for joining my show. I hope I, enlightened some adults, today. So take care, be safe, and I will see you guys in a bit. Bye.